Alright, boys, welcome back. We're about to do another tier list. I know it's been a while. We've been trying to get some tier lists in, but I've been catching too many beatings from B-Man lately. This tier list is all about one of the newer sets that's come out. Both Universal Monsters and Peter Pan have come out, in case you have been hiding under a rock. Squid Games is coming in October. If you want to know more about the Squid Game set and you're not 100% sure what I'm talking about, head over to YouTube and look up Good Move. I'll show you the logo here in a second. But they've got a good video about the Squid Game stuff. But for this video here, we're going to do the Universal movie Monstars. Pow, here they are, boys. We've got the creature. Got the bride. Got Dracula. This is my favorite character. And the Invisi-Man. Invisi-Man is really fun to play. So if you guys are new to the set, it is a 4-pack. It comes with a map. I'll show you the map. Dracula's Castle. Couple of different flags. Pretty cool map for this set, I would think. I play this map a lot, to be honest with you. It's pretty fair. I like it. It looks kind of simple, but there's lots of space to go around, and then Kool-Aid Man actually can. Enough about the map. Let's talk about the characters and throw them in the almighty tier list. Let's start with our blue-red scaly boy, the creature from the Black Lagoon. Got 2 defense. His trait is Forbidden Depths. At the start of the creature's turn, you may place a tunnel token in its square. When it moves, squares with tunnels are considered adjacent to other squares with tunnels within. Rivals may interact with tunnels. I'll help you out there. I like the spacing. Oh, dude, he's so good. So let's talk a little bit. So, at the start of the creature's turn, you got these 3 tunnel tokens that the character comes with. Dang. Tunnel tokens. At the start of your turn, you automatically can place one. Now, if you have another tunnel token on the board, and that tunnel token is within 1, 2, 3, 5, within 5 squares, if it's within 5 squares, it's considered adjacent. So you can go from here to here. It's just like you're moving from here to here. So as long as those tunnels are within 5 squares, wow. Adjacent city, baby. You can figure it out to where at the start of the game, kind of put one here, move 2, and then use one of his abilities to place a token and then get into here. You can go from here to here to here and score in one move if your opponent isn't taking these out. Because your opponent can come over and all they have to do is waste an action to interact with one. And when they can interact and crumble your tunnel. So that's how that works. His first ability is a red 3, so if you have the red token, you spend it on the 3. You get to challenge 3, challenge 2 to a... Okay, so it's 2 challenges. You're adjacent to 2 people. You can challenge 3 and then challenge 2 to, as long as there's a different rival there. You don't have to do the second challenge 2. If there is no other rival, you can just spend 3 to do a challenge 3. Just kind of giving you a bonus option. You have to pay a little more to get the second act. Or the second challenge in there. Sometimes you just need that. There's been plenty of times where I've been more than willing to pay the red to get the extra, just to get the bonus. Maybe I'm rolling bad, maybe I'm feeling bad, you know. Sometimes you need that extra die. His 2 cost second character. Place that character in Okay, so it's kind of like lend me your hand. But you can pick any. It doesn't have to be an ally. It can be any character. You move one, and then place the character in adjacent square. So if you're trying to get like the bride out of the doorway, you're adjacent in your base, right? So your first move, 1, 2, and then you do abduct till it move 1, and then place her through here. But what is also cool, if you have your tunnels set up, you can move 1 and then bring her here. Because remember, you're moving 1, but these are considered adjacent squares as long as they're within 5. So you can abduct your friends and bring them with you, or you can also, say if you have your tunnels set up in your enemy's base and you think somebody's going to challenge you for the flag, you can move 1 and abduct them back to here, and then use your second action to move back to the flag. So you can take people out of their own base and then move back in using your own tunnels, because they cannot use your tunnels. The only way to get through the creature's tunnels is for him to go through, or for him to abduct you through the tunnels. Allies and rivals can't use the tunnels. The only thing that rivals can do is interact and crumble your... The tunnels are really cool movement ability. They can open up the map quite a bit, especially on this one where it's only a couple squares wide, and you really want some vertical movement. Really nice. Third ability here, Aquatic Ambush. Place a tunnel token in a square within 2. Move 1 and do a basic challenge. Okay, so here's how to use this move in a nutshell. You got your tunnel tokens. Yeah, mate, you got your tunnel tokens. At the start of your turn, drop a tunnel, right? At the start of your turn, using his trait, you drop the tunnel, and then you do Aquatic Ambush. You place a tunnel within 2 squares, like this, and you don't have to. It doesn't say you have to see the square that you're placing it either. So, through a wall, I mean, this wall this way, but really, I would do it towards the flag if it was me, and then you move 1 still. And you do a challenge. So place the tunnel within 2, you move 1, and do a basic challenge. So you can move into somebody's base and challenge them, and then still have a whole nother action. I don't know, maybe abduct them. Maybe you lose the challenge and you're worried about your coming into the base, so you abduct somebody and go back. That seems god tier. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Aquatic Ambush is amazing. Aquatic Ambush is amazing. Creature from the Black Lagoon is definitely a solid 8 character. We'll put him up there, but he's looking pretty. He's looking pretty A tier, right, guys? He's looking pretty solid. Let's go to our second character on the list of 4 in the box. We got the Bride of Frankenstein. Bride's a cool character. She comes with 4 of these build 'em up cards. Kind of build the bride as you play. She's only got 2 abilities, the 2 defense. The Bride of Frankenstein gains traits and abilities printed on the bride's status card. Bride of Frankenstein given the 4th bride card. Give 2 ability tokens. Okay, so we're gonna use these 2 abilities, Grave Robbing and She's Alive. Grave Robbing, you can do an interact. It's just do an interact and move 1, but you get a card. And then her 2 cost is She's Alive. It's a challenge 3. You can interact and challenge 3, but these cards are where it's at. So you guys know how to interact, right? So you'd spend the 1 on the blue. You'd interact. Pick one of these cards that we'll talk about in a second. And then you'd move 1. And then She's Alive is just a challenge 3. If you win that challenge, you get to pick a card. Let's go over her cards. So if you win one of these 2 things, you get to steal one of these. And then you get these bonus... The costs are on the side. So you can add these. Start in your hand. If you get to add them... Win this, you can add one. Let's start with this one. The 4 cost, She Breathes. Do a challenge 3 to each rival within 2 squares. You have to interact to get the card, or is it... Can you interact and get a card? You do an interact action, and then you get the card. So you have to interact. Yeah, you have to interact. So you can't just like spend 1 on the blue and get the card. You have to be able to do the interact first, because it's printed first on the card. They make it tricky like that. So She Breathes is do a challenge 3 to each rival within 2. It's a ranged challenge. And it's a challenge 3 dice. To every rival within 2. And you don't have to be able to see anybody. It's another one of those abilities where it's do it through a wall. You can do it through obstructions. As long as the person's within 2, then they get breathed on. Another crazy, you don't know, no line of sight move. What's She Hears? She Hears is a stand the bride up. Kind of like Batman or Darkwing Duck. That's weird. Those types of rules confuse me because sometimes you do not have to do the first printed action. You'll get the second. I'm almost positive in this case, do an interact action and then there's a period, so you would have to do that first part of it in order to get the status card. I'm almost positive. Some of the cards say if. They have other like words. I'd have to look at the character you were talking about. A stand 'em up move. So if we win one of these, we can stack these cards up. What do we get if we get to 3 cards? PCs. The Bride of Frankenstein can assist allies and interact with things that she can see within 2 squares. So it's kind of like having goggles. Once she gets her eyes, she has goggles. And you can pick these in any order, guys. So if you do grave robbing and you do that interact action and get to pick a card, you pick any one of these 4. And then the 4th card, a blue 2 will let you do a move 3 and a basic challenge, not a basic action, a basic challenge. A move 3 challenge is pretty good. I'll have to look at them. I know one time Bo said you don't have to do the first action on some character. You'll get the second. I can't remember which. Yeah, if you can think about it, I'll look it up and we can try to see what the rule is. So that's her 4 cards. If you are in the game and you get to do one of these 2 things 4 times and you've added all 4, then according to her trait, when you've gotten the 4th card, when you've done the 4th challenge in 1, or you've done the 4th interact action, you get to shift 2 ability tokens off your cooldown track. Just shift them off, which is pretty crazy. I believe it was one of the female characters. Okay. We can definitely look. So once you've used the bride a little bit, you get a handle on her kind of gameplay where you want to make sure she's the one doing the interacts to get the early grave robbing and get the early cards. And then you can try to get her in position for challenges if there's nothing to interact with. She's really good on like control, where you've got the points to interact with and you've got the control markers to interact with. I wouldn't call her amazing like territories or flags. She's a little slow. Very good in control. If you can get her rolling, she might be good in maybe territory if you can win your challenges. It's all about your challenges in territory though. And she doesn't have any like crazy big challenge. Definitely a solid high B, I would say. Maybe low A. But you have to get her rolling. I've played games where the game was over quicker than I could get all the 4 cards in, and then I was like stuck trying to like boost her stuff up. I was like trying to get her going, but I just didn't have enough time. She's, like I said, she's a little slow, but still very, very good. If you can get like 1 or 2 of those things going, your opponent can't really do much. Dracula, our third character. My man. I like Dracula. Dracula is a gray-red. He's 1 defense, but he gets a bonus defense if you put the blood token on your... Dracula does a challenge, you can shift the blood token down 1 to add the blood dice to the roll. If you don't, place the blood token free of your cooldown track. I know that sounds a little confusing, so... Dracula has 1 defense normally, but if you challenge somebody, you get to add this token here, the blood token, to the 3 of your cooldown track. So anytime you challenge somebody and you don't use the blood dice in the challenge, you get to put this on the 3. So there's 2 things that this thing does. So when you do a challenge, you don't use the blood dice in your challenge, you now have 2 defense. As long as this is over here, you got 2 defense. So now you have an option as well. Once this is on here, you have 2 defense, as well as you get this bonus dice. And anytime you want to use this dice, it's kind of like Wonder Woman's shield dice, except it's all hits with 1 crit, instead of being all shields with the crits. So if you want to use this dice in an attack, you would have to move this down 1. So including in like the end of round moving down, you can move this down a bonus 1 back into your hand if you want to use this to roll in a challenge. So anytime you want to add this in. But remember, in order to get it back to your cooldown track, you have to do a challenge any type. You can do one from his things here, we'll get to those. Or you can do a basic challenge to get this token back up on here. So if you feel like you're feeling offensive and you're not really worried about that 1 defense, man, spend this. Move it down a couple of times around. Get your challenge in, and then spend it immediately. And then you have 1 more round with 2 defense to maybe your opponent goes first next round. It'll be on the 1 still. That's how you use the blood dice in his trait. His first ability is the blood is the life. Stand Dracula up or shift him off the cooldown track. Just kind of like... Oh yeah, she hears. Kind of like this right here for a 1 red, but his is a 2 gray. Same move. And stand him up. Mesmerize is his second ability for 3 gray. Pull a rival. Dracula can see 2 squares and do a basic challenge. So if the bride's over here and she's about to take D, next turn you can mesmerize, pull her over, and you get a basic challenge of 2. And if you had the blood dice or the blood thing, the blood token on your cooldown track, you can move 1. I got 2 blocks. Now what do I get? Blocks. And at least I got 1 hit out of it. But I'd have to spend this down. His third ability is Exsanguinate. Challenge 5. Reduce the cost of this ability by 2 when targeting a knockdown character. Normally it costs a red 4. But if the your opponent that you're attacking knocked down already, it costs 2. Nice. He's a banger. Usually I do mesmerize and then exsanguinate because you can pull them in. You can do a basic challenge with the token. Hopefully you've gotten the token the wrong number. So you can use this token to do pretty much a challenge 3 with a crazy dice. And then you can exsanguinate your rival for a challenge 5. It only costs 2. So it's kind of expensive, but it's a really nice 1-2 punch. I combo him with Joker, where I put like a bomb down, and then I can exsanguinate them on, or I can mesmerize them onto a bomb or something. It's a nice combo. I like Dracula quite a bit. He's got pull. He can stand himself up. He's got a crazy challenge if you really need it. It's a little expensive, but I mean his defense is 1, but you try to get this on there and try to at least give him a shot to defend himself a little bit. I like Dracula a lot. I think he's like maybe mid to high A. These 2 are definitely the high A, but for different reasons. A little bit of movement, some banger challenges. She's like lower A and higher B just because she's a little slower. Let's look at our fourth character here. Invisible Man. He's so invisible, boys. He is gray-blue. He's got a 2 defense. And rivals can only see him when he's adjacent. So, you know that mesmerize move? Pull a rival. Dracula can see 2 squares. Do a basic challenge. Dracula can't see him because he's not adjacent. You can't see him. Even though you can, you know, he's invisible, boys. He's invisible. So unless he's right here, you can't see him. Invisible? Oh, hey, where'd you come from? So if there's nobody adjacent to the invisible man, rivals can only see the invisible man while they're adjacent to him. So no ranged move will work on him. No pulls will work on him. It's that trait. The trait is nuts, and it's by itself. It's nuts. He's very cheap as well. If you'll see, he's got a 2 gray, challenge 3 for a strangle. Challenge 3, roll 1 extra dice when targeting a knockdown rival. So challenge 3 or a challenge 4 if you're knocking somebody's knocked down. Sneaking, move 2, give the invisible man a sneaking status card. So you pay the 1 blue. You get to sneak. So move 2, 1, 2, and you give the invisible man a sneaking card. Which means at the start of Invisible Man's turn, if no rivals can see him, he may do an action. After the Invisible Man rallies or does the action, discard this card. So at the start of your turn, if there's nobody next to him that can see him, if there's no rivals next to him that can like bust his cover, then he gets to do an extra action and kind of sneak along. The only time you lose this card is if you do the extra bonus action or if you rally. So say you were knocked down and you had the sneaking card. As soon as you rallied, you lose this. So it goes back in your hand. And you wouldn't get to do the extra action. So you wouldn't get technically three actions in one turn with the sneaking card if you were down. You would spend your 2 normal actions to rally, and then you would lose the card, and you would not get an extra action. So in order to use sneaking, nobody has to be around you, and pretty much you have to be sneaking. So if you're standing and invisible, nobody's blowing your cover, you get an extra action, and then maybe you can reach B and take it. As soon as you do that, do an action or rally, lose the Z card. But if say you get knocked out, say you get knocked down and knocked out, and it wasn't your turn, you didn't rally, you didn't use an action, you go back to your base with the sneaking card. And as long as you're in your base and nobody's blowing your cover or can see you, move out of your base with an extra action. So, kind of good in that way. So if you're knocked down, you really want somebody to knock you out if you want that extra action. It may cost you a point. It may not be in your best interest sometimes, but... Oh, look. Did invisible... This... Invisible man. Very cool, Bo. What's his third ability here? Reign of Terror. Move 2. Push an adjacent rival 2 squares. Pride is here. No, a push is, it has to be away. So you couldn't push her here. Because that's 1 square away here. You're also 1 square away here and here. It would have to be. And then for the second move, couldn't push here. So as long as it's away, it can be push. I think Invisible Man is good. Maybe he's good in flags. He's good. Not good in territory. Because you lose his trait kind of. Because in territory, you're usually on top of somebody. I mean, maybe not. Maybe you keep him in the back on territory. So they have to come forward to get him. Invisible Man might be... He's really good too. I think he's upper 8. Well, let's go to the tier list and find it. So the Bride of Frankenstein. I would say that she a little slow. I would say low A. Yeah, low A. Got more options than LeBron because she can stand herself up. She's slightly better than LeBron. The creature, very good. The movement on the creature, pretty good. And then you got the... I would say not as good as Alice, but better than Agritsuko. Agritsuko has the move and the challenges. I think creatures, it can't stand itself up. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think Dracula is better than can pull. And Invisible Man is just his challenges. This is where I'm stuck with these. Because they exsanguinate a challenge 5 for possibly 2, and then a challenge 4 for a possible challenge 4 for definitely. I feel like he's got to move 2 and a push, and he's got to pull. I feel like they're very good at the top. Like Black Panther has AoE, he has movement, he has the vibranium tokens. Iron Man and Rose are Iron Man and Rose. Arya, Cap, Rom. So I feel like these guys are insanely good, but they don't quite break the the top S. I don't think they are better than the whole top row of A, actually. Well, Dracula can... like, if we compare... I don't know, I think they are. Like... You don't think that, Invisible Man's tech and his trait is maybe better than, like, maybe Wonder Woman? Who has, like... a move to assist, a move to challenge. Good, and she can stand herself up. And he's got a move to assist, which stand herself. He can stand himself up, and he's got a little bit of move. Got the rabbit, and he can move around. He actually might be better. The only reason I put Alice above the creature is because the rabbit is so annoying. But the creature's movement might actually be better than Alice's. Just the rabbit, I find the rabbit more annoying. But he can't stand himself up, and maybe he can't be shut down. Maybe you're right about this. This is, for me personally, I love Drake. He's one of my favorite characters to play. One of my new favorite characters. I don't know, I think the tier list is hard because Wonder Woman is offensive and Bizman is pretty defensive. Yeah, he's definitely, you sneak him around, and if you need him to come up behind somebody and strangle him, you kind of like use that extra action for movement to get close to somebody. The extra action is usually movement. So, I'm thinking this is pretty good right now. I like offensive characters, but maybe maybe these guys have more utility. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm overselling. He doesn't have the utility. He doesn't have the interacts. All he is a challenger. He's a slayer. He's definitely a glass cannon slayer. Maybe I'm rating him too. Okay, so these, yes, all right. This looks a little better. He's a better Batman. He's better than Batman, so Batman should here. Maybe we'll move Batman down a little bit. I like Agritsuko. The more I play Agritsuko, the more I like her. What do you think about this? That looks pretty square, right? Black Widow's in. The only reason I don't put her up here is because I need somewhere to start my A. Better for sure. Yeah, I agree. And that's where we're gonna save it. I've got a little more time. If you're trying to hang out, come. Monitor back to the monitor cam. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna put this up on YouTube. We're over. Genesis is here hanging out with. Might even do another tier list after this, so watch out for a video. I'm gonna grab something to drink though. Thanks for watching. Lucky rolling.